How to take first step for talking. Maya woke up with the familiar knot in her stomach. Another day, another potential English conversation, another chance to stumble. Her mind raced, remembering past linguistic mishaps. The struggle was real, a constant companion. Taking the first step for talking felt like climbing Mount Everest without gear. She longed for effortless communication. Her internal voice echoed the common refrain. How to take first step for talking. The words felt stuck, a jumbled mess behind a mental wall. Fear of judgment paralyzed her tongue. Daily, this anxiety gnawed at her, making simple interactions daunting. She desperately wanted to break free from this silent cage. Why I always make mistakes? This question plagued her thoughts, a persistent whisper of self-doubt. Every mispronounced word, every grammatical error, felt like a spotlight on her inadequacy. It chipped away at her confidence, making her hesitant to even attempt speaking. Her daily struggle was exhausting. She observed others, seemingly effortlessly conversing, and wondered how people speak English so fluently. Their words flowed like a river, while hers felt like disjointed drops. It seemed impossible to bridge the gap. She yearned for that natural rhythm, that uninhibited expression she saw in others. The desire to improve her English was immense, a burning need. She knew it was crucial for her career, for connecting with people globally. How to improve your English? She'd type into search engines late at night, overwhelmed by countless tips. The path seemed unclear, daunting, and endless. One morning, a small advertisement caught her eye. Learn English through stories. Intrigued, Maya clicked. Perhaps this could be different, less like a chore and more engaging. She had always loved narratives, but never considered them a learning tool. This felt like a glimmer of hope. The article emphasized why reading is important. It spoke of vocabulary expansion, understanding sentence structures, and absorbing context naturally. Maya had previously viewed reading as academic, not as a dynamic process. Could stories truly transform her linguistic journey? She felt a spark. It detailed why you must read English, especially for acquiring a feel for the language's nuances. Reading, it argued, built a subconscious understanding of grammar and flow. It wasn't just about knowing words. It was about internalizing how they fit together. A new perspective dawned on her. Later that day, she decided to begin with a simple English children's story online. The sentences were short, the vocabulary manageable. She read slowly, letting the words form pictures in her mind. This was different. It felt less like studying and more like an enjoyable escape. The story engaged her, pulling her into its world. She found herself subconsciously repeating phrases, internalizing sentence patterns. This was the first time learning English felt genuinely fun, not just a task. Her initial apprehension began to subtly melt away. She continued reading, moving from simple tales to slightly more complex narratives. Each story opened new doors. The act of reading cultivated a sense of familiarity with the language, a quiet absorption that bypassed her usual anxieties. She was building a solid foundation. As she read more, she noticed her listening comprehension subtly improving too. Words she had only seen on paper now resonated when spoken. This organic connection between reading and listening was a revelation. Her brain was slowly making crucial linguistic connections. The article also stressed the importance of listening, active and passive. Maya started listening to English podcasts during her commute. At first, it was overwhelming, a cacophony of unfamiliar sounds. But she persisted, even if she only grasped a few words. This initial phase was challenging. She made it a ritual, 30 minutes of English audio every day, whether a podcast, a news report, or just background music with lyrics. Her ears slowly attuned to the rhythm and intonation. This dedicated listening practice began to yield noticeable results over time. The next crucial step was practice. But how? The fear of making mistakes still loomed large. She recalled the article's advice: start small, focus on progress, not perfection. This gentle reminder eased some of her self-imposed pressure. She decided to bravely attempt it. Her first attempt at active practice was speaking to herself in front of a mirror. She described her daily routine, stumbled, corrected herself, and tried again. It felt silly, yet incredibly liberating. No one was judging her, just her reflection, a silent confidant. She then tried recording her voice on her phone. Listening back was cringeworthy at first, highlighting every hesitation and mispronunciation. Yet, it also provided a tangible baseline for improvement. This objective feedback was invaluable for identifying patterns and targeting specific areas. Observing how people speak English became a deliberate study. She noticed their confidence, their natural pauses, their varied expressions. It wasn't just about grammar. It was about communication, connection, and personality. She started imitating intonation and common conversational fillers. She sought out online language exchange partners. Her heart pounded before her first video call. The initial conversation was awkward, filled with long silences and many ums. But her partner was patient and understanding, which greatly encouraged her to continue trying. Each small interaction, even just a few sentences, felt like a monumental victory. She made mistakes, often, but her partners would gently correct her, or she would self-correct upon reflection. The fear began to recede with every successful, albeit imperfect, exchange she completed. Her daily day struggle was still present, but its nature changed profoundly. Instead of paralyzing fear, it became a challenge, a puzzle to solve. She no longer saw mistakes as failures, but as invaluable opportunities for learning. This mindset shift was truly transformative. She continued to learn English through stories, devouring novels and short stories. The narratives provided organic context for new vocabulary and reinforced grammatical structures without explicit study. It was an immersive and natural way to acquire language, making it enjoyable. Reading exposed her to different writing styles and cultural nuances. It deepened her understanding of English beyond just basic communication. She began to appreciate the beauty and complexity of the language, making the entire learning process richer and more fulfilling. Why you must read English resonated deeply now. It wasn't just a mere suggestion, it was a fundamental pillar of her improvement journey. Reading consistently provided a steady stream of input, crucial for building an intuitive grasp of the language's flow. She also diversified her listening materials, adding English movies and TV shows with subtitles. Initially, she relied heavily on the text for understanding. Gradually, she found herself understanding more and more without looking down. Her ears were meticulously training. The combination of reading, listening, and active practice created a powerful synergistic effect. Each component reinforced the others, accelerating her progress remarkably. Her confidence, though still fragile at times, grew steadily, day by day, becoming stronger. Maya realized that how to improve your English wasn't a single magic formula. It was a mosaic of consistent, deliberate actions. There were no hidden shortcuts, only persistent effort and a willingness to embrace imperfection wholeheartedly. This understanding brought clarity. She kept a small journal of new words and phrases encountered during her reading and listening sessions. She would diligently try to incorporate these into her practice conversations. This active application cemented her learning effectively, making it stick. Her initial question, how to take first step for talking, now seemed significantly less daunting. The first step wasn't a giant leap, but a series of tiny, brave actions. Each small attempt built momentum, little by little, towards greater fluency. She remembered the times she'd avoid eye contact, hoping no one would ask her a question in English. Now, she would occasionally initiate a brief exchange, a small but incredibly significant shift in her behavior. Progress was truly becoming tangible. The persistent worry of why I always make mistakes still surfaced occasionally, but it no longer stopped her. She started viewing mistakes as valuable data points, indicating areas for improvement rather than personal shortcomings or failures. This mindset was empowering. Her daily day's struggle transformed from a crushing burden to a manageable, consistent routine. It was no longer a fight against herself, but a dedicated, consistent effort towards a clear goal. The process became less about outcome and more about daily commitment. Maya started noticing how people speak English more critically and analytically. Not to compare negatively, but to learn. She analyzed their phrasing, their word choices, and tried to emulate effective communication strategies. This was active observation, leading to better skills. She joined a local English conversation club, pushing herself further out of her comfort zone. The environment was incredibly supportive, and everyone was genuinely there to learn and grow. This peer interaction proved immensely beneficial, building camaraderie and shared purpose. Speaking in front of a group, even a small one, was a huge initial hurdle. Her voice trembled, and she felt her cheeks flush with embarrassment. But she pushed through, focusing on conveying her message, not on perfect delivery. She successfully completed her turn. Each successful group discussion bolstered her confidence significantly. She realized that others made mistakes too, and that imperfection was a natural part of the learning journey for everyone, not just for her. She was definitely not alone in this challenge. She consciously incorporated the listen and practice mantra into her daily routine. She listened attentively in conversations, then tried to respond, even if slowly and with hesitation. This active engagement was absolutely key to her continuous progression and growth. Her vocabulary expanded dramatically, not just from direct memorization, but from contextual understanding gained through extensive reading. Words felt familiar because she had seen them used authentically in captivating stories, which aided retention greatly. The advice on why reading is important had truly transformed her entire learning approach. It provided a steady, enjoyable stream of complex language input that formal lessons often missed. Reading was undoubtedly her secret weapon for deep acquisition. Learning English through stories had made the process deeply personal and genuinely enjoyable. She connected with characters and plots, rather than just abstract grammar rules or sterile exercises. This emotional engagement profoundly solidified her memory and understanding. She reflected on why you must read English. Now understanding it's about building an intuitive sense of the language, a fluency that transcends mere rule following. It's truly about thinking in English, not just laboriously translating every word. Her journey illustrated how to learn English effectively, a multifaceted approach involving consistent exposure, active practice, and a positive, growth-oriented mindset. It wasn't about one single method, but a harmonious blend of many strategies working together. Maya now felt significantly more comfortable initiating conversations, even with strangers she encountered. The initial awkwardness still existed sometimes, but it was completely overshadowed by her strong desire to connect and communicate. Her fear was clearly diminishing. She started offering help and encouragement to other learners, sharing her hard-earned strategies and reminding them not to fear making mistakes. Her own struggles had given her profound empathy and valuable insights into the learning process. She was actively paying it forward. Her daily struggle had become less about struggle and more about continuous growth. Each day brought exciting new opportunities to refine her skills, to speak a little clearer, to understand a little more deeply. It was a continuous, rewarding ascent. The question, how to improve your English, now had a profoundly personal answer: consistent, joyful engagement. It wasn't about rigid drills, but about integrating English into her daily life in meaningful, practical ways. This approach made it truly sustainable. She noticed her thoughts increasingly forming in English before she even spoke them aloud. This was a monumental shift, a clear sign of true internalization, something she once thought utterly impossible. Her brain was effectively rewiring itself for fluency. When she reflected on how people speak English, she no longer felt intimidated or overwhelmed. Instead, she felt deeply inspired and motivated. She saw herself as a valuable part of that global community of English speakers, constantly learning and improving. She still made mistakes, of course. That was an undeniable part of the process. But the familiar sting was gone entirely. They were just part of the conversation, easily corrected or simply moved past. Mistakes were no longer roadblocks, but gentle nudges. Maya's journey showed that taking the first step for talking wasn't a one-time event, but a continuous series of brave, small actions. Every single word spoken, every sentence attempted, was a crucial step forward on her path. Her newfound confidence radiated outwards. Friends and colleagues immediately noticed the remarkable change, remarking on her improved fluency and newfound willingness to actively engage. The silent, hesitant Maya was slowly, surely, becoming a truly confident communicator. She understood now that listen and practice was truly the bedrock of her progress. Listening filled her input tank, providing raw material, and practice allowed her to output, test, and refine her skills. It was a symbiotic relationship, absolutely essential for mastery. The question, why I always make mistakes, had completely transformed its meaning for her. Now, it was a productive, how can I learn from these mistakes? The focus shifted from self-criticism to constructive self-assessment. This was a powerful, positive pivot. Her daily struggle had transformed into a daily learning adventure. The fear had largely dissipated, replaced by genuine curiosity and a profound enjoyment of the English language itself. This transformation was a wonderful, liberating experience. Maya's story became a powerful testament to perseverance and unwavering dedication. From her initial silent struggle to her remarkable newfound voice, she proved that consistent effort, embraced with patience and joy, leads to truly remarkable and lasting progress.